Welcome to the Dark Entry, where we take a journey into the eerie and fascinating worlds of folklore, fairy tales, and horror stories. We explore the deep dark forests where we encounter wolves, witches, and other creatures that go bump in the night. We delve into the ancient folklore, urban legends, and also horror stories told through the ages and plucked from all four corners of the interwebs. So, if you're brave enough to join us, hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell for the latest updates. Your support helps grow this community into something truly spectacular. So, let's get started. In this gripping tale, I am a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. By the talented Reddit user Search and Rescue Woods, we delve into the eerie encounters of a brave soul who ventures deep into the untamed lands for those that have lost their way. Brace yourselves, for what awaits is a collection of spine-tingling stories where the line between reality and the supernatural becomes blurred. And as always, the link to the story is in the description below, and please go over and give this now modern classic some love. And with that, sit back, relax, and settle in for our newest adventure tonight. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time they just wander off the path or slip down a small cliff and they can't find their way back. The majority of them are the old stay where you are thing, and they don't wander far. But I've had two cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing persons cases I get called on. The first was a little boy who was out berry picking with his parents. He and his sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in the time that both the kids apparently wandered off, when their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked where her brother was, she told us that he had been taken away by the Bear Man. She said he gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while. The last she saw of her brother, he was riding on the shoulders of the Bear Man and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was an abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl was also insistent that he wasn't a normal man, but that he was tall and covered in hair like a bear, and that he had a weird face. We searched that area for weeks. It was one of the longest calls I've ever been on, but we never found a single trace of that kid. The other one was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to the mother, her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest, and she'd never come back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name, before they called for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could have possibly gone, because neither her mother or grandma saw her come down. A few times I've been out on my own searching with a canine, and they've tried to lead me straight up cliffs. Not hills, mind you, not even rock faces. Straight, sheer cliffs with no possible handhold. It's always baffling, and in those cases we usually find the person on the other side of the cliff, or miles away from where the canine had led us. I'm sure there's an explanation, but it's sort of strange. One particularly sad case involved the recovery of a body. A 9-year-old girl fell down an embankment and got impaled on a dead tree at the base. It was a complete freak accident, but forget the sound her mother made when we told her what had happened. She saw the body bag loaded into the ambulance, and she let out the most haunting, heartbroken wail I've ever heard. It was like her whole life was crashing down around her, and a part of her died with her daughter. I heard from another search and rescue officer that she had killed herself a few weeks after it happened. She couldn't live with the loss of her daughter. I was teamed up with another search and rescue officer because we had received reports of bears in the area. We were looking for a guy who hadn't come home from a climbing trip when he was supposed to, and we ended up having to do some serious climbing to get to where we figured he would be. We found him trapped in a small crevice with a broken leg. It was not pleasant. He had been there for almost 2 days, and his leg was obviously infected. We were able to get him into a chopper, and I heard from one of the EMTs that the guy was absolutely inconsolable. He kept talking about how he'd been doing fine, and when he'd gotten to the top, a man had been there. He said the guy had no climbing equipment, and he was wearing a parka and ski pants. He walked up to the guy, and when the guy turned around, he said he had no face. It was just blank. He freaked out and ended up trying to get off the mountain too fast, which is why he'd fallen. He said he could hear the guy all night climbing down the mountain and letting out these horrible, muffled screams. That story bothers the hell out of me, and I'm glad I wasn't there to hear it. One of the scariest things I have ever had happen to me involved a search of a young woman who had gotten separated from her hiking group. We were out until late at night because the dogs had picked up her scent. When we found her, she was curled up under a large rotten log. She was missing her shoes and pack, and she was clearly in shock. She didn't have any injuries, and we were able to get her to walk with us back up to base. Along the way, she kept looking behind us and asking us why that big man with black eyes was following us. We couldn't see anyone, so we just wrote it off as some weird symptom of shock. But the closer we got to base, the more agitated this woman got. She kept asking me to tell him to stop making faces at her. At one point, she stopped and turned around and started yelling into the forest, saying that she wanted him to leave her alone. She wasn't going to go with him, and she said that she wouldn't give us to him. We finally got her to keep moving, but we started hearing these weird noises coming from all around us. It was almost like coughing, but more rhythmic and deeper. It was almost insect-like. I don't really know how else to describe it. When we were within the sight of the base ops, the woman turned to me, and her eyes are about as wide as I can imagine a human could open them. He touches my shoulder and says, "He says to tell you to speed up. He doesn't like looking at the scar on your neck." I have a very small scar on the base of my neck, but it's mostly hidden under my collar, and I have no idea how this woman saw it. Right after she says it, I hear that weird coughing right in my ear, and just about jumped out of my skin. I hustled her over to Ops, trying not to show how freaked out I was. But I have to say, I was really happy when we left the area that night. This is the last one I'll tell, and it's probably the weirdest story I have. Now, I don't know if this is true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it by our superiors. And at this point, we've all gotten so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. On just about every case where we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like you took the stairs in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some, and the other officer just told me not to worry about it, that it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I want to go check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go near any of them. At this point, I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them in the forest, because it happens so frequently. I have a lot more stories, and I suppose if anyone's interested, I'll tell some of them tomorrow. If anyone has any theories about the stairs, or if you'd like to see them too, let me know. As our journey through the dark entry comes to a close, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you, my dedicated viewers. It is your unwavering support that fuels this channel and keeps the shadows here alive. Tonight, we ventured into the realms of the unknown, where folklore, horror, and tales of the supernatural have intertwined. We explored the depths of imagination and ventured into worlds both familiar and hauntingly unfamiliar. But remember, the darkness never truly sleeps. There will always be more stories to unravel, more mysteries to uncover. So, if you dare to continue this journey with us, hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss in the next chapter in the dark entry. I want to express also my deepest thanks to the talented authors whose words have breathed life into these tales. Without their creativity and imagination, this channel would be just an echo in the night. Lastly, I want to thank you, my dear viewers, for your unwavering support, your comments, and your enthusiasm. You are the lifeblood of the Dark Entry, and it is an honor to share these chilling tales with you. Now, as we bid farewell, remember to keep your curiosity alive, your mind open to shadows, and your heart strong in the face of the unknown. Until next time, may the darkness be your guide, and may you always find a sense of thrill in the mysteries that lie just beyond the threshold. And with that, good night, sleep tight, and I'll keep the light on for you right here, and the tale's coming.